Egypt's State Information Service has firmly rejected false claims that Egypt plans to temporarily relocate 500,000 Gaza residents to northern Sinai for reconstruction. Egypt's State Information Service also emphasized that such allegations were entirely untrue and contradict Egypt's strong stance against the displacement of Palestinians. This unwavering stance forms the core of reconstruction plan Egypt presented at the recent Emergency Arab Summit in Cairo. U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff has stated that Israel demands Hamas disarm as part of any future settlement, allowing Hamas a brief transitional presence in Gaza. He asserted that Hamas seeks to retain control, which Israel deems unacceptable. Witkoff noted ongoing negotiations to halt Israeli airstrikes, emphasizing that dialogue remains key to reaching a resolution. Hamas has reaffirmed its right to resist Israeli occupation, rejecting the U.S. National Security Advisor's remarks, equating victim and aggressor. It condemned Washington's bias and dismissed claims that Israeli self-defense was justified, labeling it occupying force. Hamas accused Israel of rejecting ceasefire deals for political gain and blamed ongoing violence on its refusal to uphold agreements. The statement denounced U.S. complicity in Gaza's suffering through blockade and military support. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has announced plans to seize more areas in Gaza, expel Palestinians and expand buffer zones, citing security concerns. He threatened further territorial occupation and intensified military actions until all Israeli detainees were released. Katz stated that Israel would apply military and civil pressure, including forcing Gazans southward and promoting a voluntary migration plan previously suggested by U.S. President Donald Trump. Israel is preparing for a large-scale ground offensive under Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir's plan, deploying additional forces including reservists. Israeli media reports suggested the government aims to impose military rule over Gaza. While Israel eyes Hamas' total defeat, it also leaves room to a partial detainee deal. Israeli media also reports that Israel is laying the groundwork for full Gaza control, with ceasefire talks uncertain and U.S. pressure on Netanyahu lacking. Israeli occupation forces have intensified their operations in Tulkarm, ordering more evacuations in the northern neighborhood. Residents of multiple buildings were given under 2 hours to evacuate their homes, as the military planned to turn them into closed outposts. Volunteers from the Palestinian Red Crescent Society and local committee quickly arrived to assist families in evacuating and retrieving their belongings before the deadline imposed by the Israeli forces. In a joint statement, the governments of Germany, France and the United Kingdom have urged an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and called on Israel to allow humanitarian aid access. The foreign ministers demanded Israel restore essential services and medical evacuations per international law. They stressed that only a ceasefire negotiations could ensure lasting peace. The statement also urged Hamas to release Israeli detainees, condemning the ongoing violence. France has strongly condemned the March 19th attack on a UN building in Gaza, which killed one UN OPS employee and injured several others. Offering condolences to the victims' family and the UN, France called for a thorough investigation to identify the responsible parties. The country emphasized the need to protect humanitarian personnel in line with international humanitarian law, condemning the work of UN programs like UNRWA in Gaza and globally. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned that the continuous expansion of Israeli settlements was significantly altering both the landscape and demographic makeup of Palestinian territories. He emphasized that Palestinians were increasingly confined to shrinking, disconnected areas, jeopardizing the possibility of a contagious, viable Palestinian state. Guterres reiterated that Israeli settlements were illegal under international law and raised concerns about human rights violations linked to demolitions and forced displacements.
The United Nations and humanitarian partners are working to ensure safe passage from besieged areas.
UNRWA repeated that the situation in Gaza is deteriorating rapidly due to severe reductions in aid. Senior Deputy Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza, Sam Rose, stated that progress made during the 6-week ceasefire has been undone. Without a ceasefire, he warned of massive casualties, infrastructure destruction, the spread of disease, and severe psychological trauma for Gaza's 2 million civilians, including 1 million children. He added that over 600 people have been killed in recent bombardments, with no aid entering Gaza since early March. That comes as the ongoing displacement evacuation orders are further exacerbating the crisis.